Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
Yeah.
A little bit of the, you mentioned a little bit of the lavish lifestyle, what you can do when you do make this money.
Now, I don't consider this lavish lifestyle. You might, some of you do, but I mean, I've been living like this for decades. So go ahead.
Right. The Orient Express train.
Oh,
so
you
what
gotta
else?
experience that? It's terrific.
What else on that list would you recommend?
Oh, I mean, go to the North Pole, go to the South Pole. The experiences that, like in the movies. There, the Seven Wonders of the World, seeing the Taj Mahal is no big fucking deal. And, you can smell the Taj Mahal 2 miles before you get there because it stinks of filth, So, I mean, that's not such a big deal. But there are things there, Michelin restaurants. Sally and I have a permanent place at the Ritz. I've been staying there for 40 years. It's different. It's like the 18th and 19th century staying there. And then there's certain things. I don't know. I don't like any cars, automobiles other than Rolls. And I've been driving them since I was 24-ish. Now we're a 3 Rolls family. Although we have a DB9 and we have Ferraris, but they're in the garages. Sally's gone through some phases of cars, but you get used to the best, and it becomes a second nature to you. Just as this house is no big deal to our kids. It's where they grew up, just like the cars that they see out there, or you see out there. Although we're missing one Rolls because I believe it's in the shop right now. But the difference is when you have a Rolls, the computer says something's wrong with it. They come with a truck, and they pick it up in the middle of the night. You don't even know it's gone. And then they bring it back when they fix it. You don't have to worry about the red lights flashing. The computer in the cloud, I guess, tells them there's a bearing in the front wheel of the Phantom, and they just come pick it up. Almost everything in my life is managed by somebody. I don't have to think. And when I'm in Asia, I don't even wipe my own ass. I do nothing. 100% of everything in my life is delegated to somebody else. So like Sally says, not just Sally, there are a lot of wheels. Peña's got a brain as big as a planet. All I do is think about shit. Whereas, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to deal with my ex-wife or I don't think about shit like that. I'm not saying I didn't once think like that, but that's decades ago. Fortunately, I haven't been. But I've been almost bankrupt 3 times in my life, not any time recently. But I mean, believe me, Bill Gates doesn't worry about his car payments, if he has any, or his plane payment. I mean, and just as you asked the wrong questions, virtually all the wrong questions, it's because you have different fears. Bill Gates has no fear. It's a different place in life. And in my judgment, that should be your goal, to be there in that place. Other question? Yeah.
So first of all, thank you very much for changing my life forever.
You're welcome.
My question is, because you made me feel more ashamed than ever in my life.
Good.
What's the moment in your life where you felt the most ashamed?
I never. Nope. I've never been depressed. I've never felt ashamed. That's not how I was raised. Never happened. when I was at Normandy with Sally, we were going through the wine country. And I forget what the holiday it was for Normandy. You know, World War II when the Allied forces hit Normandy. And fortunately, nobody would wake up Hitler from his nap, so he didn't deploy all the panzer divisions. They had about 75 or 80 people at this really moving ceremony. Not one person took their hat off but me. Not one person got emotionally involved with the ceremony but me. Tens of thousands died that morning. Been forgotten. And that's why the world is going down the toilet, because we don't remember anymore. We're fucked. So my extended mantra is, why not make as much fucking money off the stupidity of the human race as humanly possible, as fast as humanly possible? During every crisis, somebody gets rich. Why not us? Why not us? And I feel strongly about it. You know, and then again, I tell you, you know, there are things worth dying for still today. And I feel strongly. Again, why do 35 people watch a woman get raped on the train in New Jersey and take pictures with the iPhone and nobody helps her? That's so far beyond my reality. Why do 5 big, tough black guys in here at the castle not step out and crush the head of that little fucking pimp? Why does my wife drag him down the fucking stairs? I say you're cunts, guys. You have no idea. I can't say that I could fight everybody in the room at the same time and kill them, but I'll take 3 or 4 of you at a time, and I will kill 3 or 4 of you at a time. That's the difference. That's the difference. And I know which neck to snap first. I can drive my fist through your chest and pull your fucking heart out. And wouldn't lose a microsecond of sleep. That's the difference about talking bullshit and doing bullshit. And we don't have that anymore. And I'm not suggesting anybody on YouTube drive their fist through, first of all, knuckles through the rib cage, but it's a different world. It's a different world. It's a different world. And when I went back to the grammar school that I tried to kill my teacher at, and I'm not bragging about that, just it was fact. And the principal, tears rolling down his cheek. Oh, I'm so sorry that you felt necessary to reach out and commit that vengeful act against your teacher. Who are you talking to? I mean, well, you know. But I mean, but where I grew up, I mean, if you did something like I'm not bragging about my cousin stabbing that guy 17 times, but if this is your woman and you said something derogatory, you did something about it. And now you don't. It's that simple. Other question? Yes, sir.
Mr. Peña, you talk about in a number of your videos, and you briefly mentioned it in our seminar, sex transmutation.
Absolutely.
And the power of sex transmutation. Would you mind going a little bit more into depth?
Yes. I mean, I was a horny motherfucker. Is horny still a word? Yes. Okay. Okay. And I mean, I would fuck a snake if he held its head still. I had a reputation of that. And I mean, I was high energy for just one thing. When I wanted to be a priest, I still think I would have been a good priest. I wanted to be a priest, but when I entered puberty, my life changed. I started looking at the nuns differently. And I knew that wasn't right the way I looked at the nuns. So I knew I couldn't be a priest. And way before I ever read Think and Grow Rich, but I turned that energy when I only thought about one thing, getting laid, to doing deals, business. And in my particular case, I was able to stay laser beam focused for almost 10 exact years, 10 years. And to this date, a good portion of my net worth is attributable to those 10 years. And I only thought about business, doing deals to the exclusion, and I'm not saying you should do this. My God, my family, my kids, everybody. Just doing deals. I didn't think it would be nice for me to say, because I knew with the money that I was going to make, I could do good in the world. That'd be a lie, because I didn't think about that at all. All I wanted to do is have the accoutrements and the things that you could buy with money, i.e. this place, and back in those days, planes and stuff like that. But it's tough to stay focused like that. 10 years, none of my mentees have stayed longer than 10 years. 2 years. You can be a billionaire being focused 3 years. If the only thing you think about when you get up from the time you take a piss to the time you take a piss when you go to bed is making money, guess what? You'll make money. If that's all you think about, you don't think about anything else. I can tell you, I know the 6 or 7 of my mentees that are the most successful, the 50 billion, the 40 billion. They've gone through 7 wives, 6 wives. And I'm not saying this bragging about it, but you can't be all things to all people. You can't be a good father. I was a shitty father. I'm maybe a slightly better grandfather, but you can't. You just can't, and you're just lying to yourself. Look at your parents. How good were they? We all know, not all, but almost all know the answer to that, right? And when we have grandfathers, fathers or mothers and grandkids in the seminar all together, and they all cry, and the grandfather says, "I did the best I could," or "You don't know what you don't know." What kind of fucking answer is that? My mother got a book on raising children. She wasn't illiterate. That would be an exaggeration. As a illegal alien, she wanted to be the best parent she could be. Other than, and behind the Bible, it's the second most purchased book in the history of mankind. Behind the Bible. Quran's about third or fourth, only because there were less Muslims. Maybe it's past now because there's more Muslims. But guys, there are ways to get this shit done that you haven't been exposed to. And now you've been exposed to. I don't give a fuck if you pass it on to anybody or not. The fact is, when you make $1 jillion, people will sit up and notice. And one of the primary reasons that schools and universities and the special forces and SEALs and all these other guys asked me to go speak to them is because I'm an overnight success after 50 years, which kind of pisses me off, but not really. I'm happy to do it, and I do it all pro bono. I don't get paid for it because I do want. I've got a pet peeve, a stone in my shoe about how they don't take care of veterans, but not too many people give a shit. But if you want it bad enough, and I certainly did, and the fire in my belly is stronger than not everybody that comes to seminar, but almost everybody that comes to seminar. Still today, this day, I still have energy at 77. Although I'm sure I'll have the same energy at 87. I'm not going to do it when I'm in my 80s. I've got other plans. But the next couple of years, I will. I'm committed. But there's so many opportunities now. And whether you want to change the world with the money, fine. I don't really give a shit myself. because I know the world's through. I asked some girls at University of Edinburgh Law School, if I could prove to you or show you evidence that if we stopped all the stuff vis-a-vis global warming, climate change today, that 500 years from now, it would not make a difference. Would you still be interested in complaining or marching against the big oil companies? No. 500 years from now, we'll be dead. Who gives a shit? 1,000 years from now, Saudi Arabia will not have run out of oil. We're not going to have any flying cars. We're not going to have enough electric switches to plug the cars into the electric. And if you have a half a brain or have done any kind of research whatsoever, you know that. But it's not popular. So, So don't fight the tape. Don't fight the Fed. And go with the flow. Fortunately, high interest rates are good for us. This model has worked at 18, 19% interest rates in the 70s. Everybody's afraid of 18, 19% interest. I'm not. And if you're worried about inflation, Sally will stay, and I will stay in cash. I don't know the rest of our lives, but we're going to stay in cash because there's no real alternative. I know Bitcoin aside, there's no alternative.